Week's main news. Constitutional Court will announce final decision on parliamentary elections on November 29. Motions for an Fethullah's release rejected. Approximately 100 former candidates refused to recognize election results. Former candidate attacked in front of House. European Union holds information session on new grant program.
The meeting of the plenum of Azerbaijan's Constitutional Court was held on the 26th of November. The court considered confirming the results of the parliamentary elections held in Azerbaijan on November 7th in accordance to the Constitution and the Central Election Commission's election code. Judge Rafael Gvaladze stated that experts were involved in checking the election results. On the 29th of November at 9 p.m., the Constitutional Court will announce the final decision of the discussions. 743 candidates were registered for the parliamentary elections held in Azerbaijan on November 7, 2010. 53 of the registered candidates withdrew their candidacy. 690 candidates ran for 125 seats in parliament. The Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe International Observation Mission reported that the parliamentary election improved, but it was stated that this improvement was not in the sector of democratic development. The State Department called upon officials to bring criminal cases against election violators. After the court's final decision, the election results will come into force.
Today, the Baku Appeals Court heard Annulled Fethullah's appeal against the Gardak District Court decision of July 6. Judge Mirpasha Husseinov chaired the hearing. Annulled Fethullah stated that he had temporarily discharged his lawyer, Isakhan Ashurov. Fethullah's lawyer, Elchin Sadigov, submitted a motion for Annullah's release and bail until the end of his appeals court hearing. The public prosecutor said that his motion should not be heard. "I'm only in prison because of your decision to sentence me to pretrial detention. I'm able to put up 11,000 manat and a real estate bail. I ask you to release me on bail until the end of the appeals court hearing," said Fethullah. After deliberation, the judge announced that the court would reject the motion. Fethullah's lawyer, Elchin Sadigov, submitted a new motion to replace the pretrial detention with house arrest. The judge declined the motion. Judge Mirpasha Husseinov has banned all filming and photography during these trials, and this time he also told journalists that they could not take notes without his express permission. Fethullah's has been in prison since April 2007, when he was convicted for threatening terror and inciting hatred against the authorities. A newspaper article was published. He then received an additional sentence for tax evasion, giving him a total sentence of 8.5 years. In December of last year, he was found guilty of drug possession after a quantity of heroin was found in his clothing while he was in prison. Fethullah and his lawyer believe that the incident was a setup, organized so that the court could avoid complying with the anticipated decision of the European Court of Human Rights regarding his journalist's release. In April, the ECHR ruled that Fethullah should be released immediately, and that the Azerbaijani government should pay €27,822 to him in compensation. The Azerbaijani government ruled last week to excuse him the original charges, but he remains in prison under a drug conviction. Fethullah is recognized as a prisoner of conscience by local and international organizations. The parliamentary elections held on November 7th were fraudulent. The election results should be annulled and new elections should be held. This is what has been demanded by approximately 100 former parliamentary candidates who held a forum today at the opposition headquarters. Musavat Party Chairman Issa Gamber said that the results declared by the Central Election Commission cannot be considered legitimate. According to him, the elections were totally falsified. Even the percentage of voters participating in the election was falsified. In reality, voter turnout was 15%, but the CEC claimed it was 50%, said Gamber. He proposed appealing the CEC's decision in the Constitutional Court. APFP Chairman Ali Karamli emphasized the importance of continuing to fight for the annulment of the election results. Members of the meeting discussed the draft statement, which will include the importance of annulling the election results, implementing democratic reforms, amending election legislation, and holding new elections. Former parliamentary member and candidate Panah Hussein suggested establishing an alternative organization to the national parliament, which could make decisions on problems like these. Arif Hacılı, Ali Oruca, Fuad Gafmanlı, Erkin Gagırlı, Pana Hussein, Babaya Abil formed the working group for preparing the proposal. They released a statement expressing their refusal to recognize the election results and demanding a re-election.
On the 25th of November at 11:50 at night, the former parliamentary candidate for Sumgait 2nd Election Constituency number 42, Sayara Haydarova, was attacked by an unknown person in front of her home. An unknown person struck Haydarova on her head and immediately left the scene. Haydarova sustained injuries on her head and nose. An ambulance was called to the scene, and she was offered to be taken to the hospital, but she refused. Haydarova reported the incident to the Hatay District Police Department number 36 on the 26th of November. Police questioned Haydarova in her home. Haydarova demanded to conduct a medical examination. Haydarova claimed that the incident occurred because of her intention to appeal to the court on election violations, she told Objective TV. She stated that she was threatened by telephone and threatened before this incident occurred. The EU delegation to Azerbaijan held an information session today for the launch of its new grant program. The program aims to support civil society development in Azerbaijan. Grants will be provided for projects that will implement sustainable development in the spheres of democracy and human rights. The grant program covers three main areas. The first seeks to support human rights and the pursuit of democratic reform, protect freedom of expression, fight corruption, enhance political participation by citizens, and improve election conditions. These projects will involve opening a dialogue with government agencies to discuss legislative amendments. The second area includes awareness of human rights and human rights defense organizations. And the third area contains projects on legal activities for the protection of the environment. The European Instrument on Democracy and Human Rights has allocated 1.2 million euros for these projects. The grants will only be awarded to non-commercial organizations.